blazing bullets. Just got a new firearm today, and it is the Springfield XD Mod 2, and this is in 40 cal. This is a 10+1 and the 12+1 weapon. Got this open here, and I got my my trusty favorite. This is my Springfield XD9 subcompact. Just trying to check out the similarities, because once I popped it open and took a look at it real close, a lot of similarities to my subcompact, which I always call my chunky monkey, because it is a chunky little thing. But I shoot really well with this. It feels good in my hand. I like it a lot. So hopefully this will be the same. I wanted to try to carry something a little bit heftier in caliber wise. I do sometimes carry my 45 and stuff like that, but this will be, I came kind of in between. I have my my 40 cal that I used to carry a long time ago all the time, but since it's had its problems and I sent it out, I don't like using it too much anymore. Smith & Wesson, I'll have to do a review on that one coming up soon here. Smith & Wesson fixed my 4013 for me, and it really shoots well, but it kind of holds a special place in my heart, so I don't want to use it up too much. So I got this other 40 cal, because I really like the 40 cal a lot. Snappier than the 9. It doesn't carry as many as the 9. One of the good points about the 9 right here. But we're going to take a look at some similarities here, because I've actually taken this slide off and stuck it on my my 9 frame, and it actually does fit. Interesting enough. Also, the magazines are almost identical. This is the 9. This is the 40. You can see these are 40s, and the smaller, thinner ones are the 9s. And you can actually take the 9, stick it up in the 40, and it goes right up in there. And take the 40 and stick it right up into the 9. I wouldn't want to shoot by putting the slides on either one of them, because they're not quite right. I thought it was kind of interesting that they fit in there that good. I mean, that's actually in there. I could actually pop that bullet right up in that slot, or right up in there. Let's do that. We can probably do that. Obviously, it'll fly out of there. No, actually chambered. Let's see what it actually did. Alright, yeah, it definitely is in there. I can feel the little raised up bar here. It's actually raised up a bit. I'm actually doing this in my living room. My son's downstairs making a lot of noise, so I thought I'd bring it up here. And obviously I'm going to try to do this upside down. It's not falling either. I was really surprised at that. Well, you can see it came right out of there. So it definitely chambered it up. It's kind of weird that it didn't come out of there. I guess I don't know. That's a real weird one. Obviously, I wouldn't want to do that with the 40, because it's not going to sit in the 9 slot very well. But I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm sure it probably actually would fire. I wouldn't want to do that with holding it in my hand. But I bet you it would actually fire there too, because it was actually sitting center. So I would imagine it would probably fire. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do that with the 9, because it would definitely not be a good time. Alright, so both of these are empty firearms now. You can see down through there, there's nothing up in there. Same thing with the 9. Of course, it has the 40s in there. It's not in there. Okay, so you can see it's nothing in there, nothing in there. And if you can see, Maybe I'll put this slide back down. Might be easier to see with the slide down. Alright, now you can see this is the Mod 2, and you know it has this grip zone that they call grip zone. You ain't gonna see it for very long because I got a downstairs. I haven't put on my Talon grip yet, but it'll be covering that. So no more grip zone. The difference is I can tell it has more of a dovetail rear sight, and it has a front fiber optic on the Mod 2. These are just standard sights on the 9. Alright, so the magazines are same, you know. Obviously the 40s spread out a little bit more than the 9. But it is the same magazine. Of course, this is the 10 round, and this is the 12. I think it's 13 round for the 9. So one of the reasons why I like the 9, there's a lot of rounds. It has a pretty high round count. This is 13 rounds, so you have like 13 plus 1 in the 9mm. And sometimes I take my extended mag along with this, and that's 15, I believe, 15 or 16 plus 1. So I mean that's a lot of firepower with you if you're carrying another magazine with you. Although the 40 you know, obviously hits harder, bigger bullet, but you know, even with 10 there and 12 and 1 in the chamber, you're still talking a good bit even with the 40. So now the 45, I don't know exactly if it's the same size as these two or what, but the 45 is actually 9 plus 1, and then for some odd reason the extended magazine is 13 plus 1. That's actually one more than the 40, which is really strange. The only thing I can account for is that maybe it has a longer grip, and the magazine a little bit longer to fit that many rounds in there at that size. But that's kind of interesting that it's got the extended magazine for the 40 is 12, and the extended magazine for the 45 is 13. So really strange there. But anyways, we're going to try measuring these here and see how close they are. Now, just right off of looking at them, I noticed that these serrations here are really aggressive. I mean, it feels really good to rack that slide back on that. Where the 9 has a smaller serrations. The serrations aren't bad, but definitely not as aggressive as the new Mod 2s are. I noticed that the shape here of the sides is slightly different. You have a little bit more taken away from here. I guess it's trying to make it. They're trying to make it a little bit lighter than this. This is a really heavy weapon. Along with this, these are both heavy weapons, especially loaded. You definitely got a load full on your side. But they shoot well. I've never had a hiccup with my 9, and one that I really count on carrying most of the time. So really like that, especially in the wintertime. It's my go-to weapon that I carry. Well, let's get the measuring and see what the measurements are in this thing here, both of these, and see how wide it is. I assume they're probably going to be pretty much right on the money with each other. So let's check her out. Alright, now the length of it with the beaver tail back here, and it has a very small beaver tail. Same with the 9. This is the 40 here. This is the Mod 2 40. Just a hair over 6 inches. And the 9 probably similar, so we'll check out the 9 here. Alright, as I suspected, the 9 is just about the same size. Actually, the 9 is just a little bit bigger from the beaver tail. From the back area, not counting the beaver tail, you're talking about 5 and probably 5.8 inches. Obviously, I'm trying to do this with my monitors downstairs, my tripod. actually 5.9 inches without the beaver tail. The little beaver tail is about, really short there, so you know, it's probably about 6.1 inches with the beaver tail, and that's the same on both. The Mod 2 is the same, about 5.9 inches across the slide here. Let's check the width of them. Alright, now I measured this one to be about 1.2 inches across, and that's really actually down in the frame part down here on the polymer side. And there's the polymer side of the Mod 2 is just a little bit thinner. They've actually taken just a bit hair off of that, and it's actually 1.1 inches going across that polymer. So it is slightly smaller. One that you're going to notice that, well, I don't know. If you're the princess in the pea and you feel the pea at the bottom of the mattresses, perhaps you might, but 0.1 inches, don't really think you're going to much feel that. I noticed that the grips are pretty similar as well. I can measure the grips here. The 9 feels a little bit thicker width-wise here, especially at the end, than the Mod 2. Mod 2 seems a little bit thinner at the end here, but we'll take a look at that. Alright, now on the grips, both of them have the same 2 inches at their widest points from here to here. There is a more of a finger indentations here, and it's like a raised up point on the Mod 2. The older XD9 subcompact actually has no finger gripping there, but it has the same 2 inches there at the bottom. Sorry for my clock. Now the big bend is done there. Now the grip width here is 1.2 or 1.1 inches, the same as the frame up above there on the grip, and the 9 is 1.2 inches going across there, same as up top up here. So it's pretty much the same all the way down. You definitely can feel the difference in the grip. I can't anyway, so maybe I'm the princess in the pea, but I can feel that extra 0.1 inch off of that grip there. So I don't think that when I put the Talon grip on it, it's going to make that 0.1 difference up, and I'm sure they sit pretty flush, so I don't think I'm going to notice any difference here. But you're talking 2 inches this way, 1.1 for the Mod 2, and you got 2 inches this way and 1.2 inches on the 9 subcompact. But like I said, these are pretty much similar weapons. I've actually tried sticking the Mod 2 into my holster for my 9, and it actually goes right in there. Not a problem. Of course, my Kydex is kind of wore out, so. But these are pretty similar. I imagine with this one being 0.1 inches, a little bit shy, smaller, it's going to wobble in there a little bit better, a little bit more than the on that one there, especially since the Kydex is a little bit wore out from sticking it out of the holster so many times. I have a new holster coming for this, so that one won't use the 9 subcompact one for that. But let's take them down. Now this is the same as the most Springfields. Anybody's familiar with Springfields, they're pretty much all their models are the same. I have the XDS9, I have the XDS45, I have now this Mod 240, and I have the 9, and they're all pretty much the same thing with the little lever here. You actually pull the slide back, lock it, move up on the little lever here. There's a little lever there. I'm not sure how well you can see it. I'm going to try to catch the light here, but a little bit more. Stick it up, release the slide, and pretty much shoot it off. And of course you're going to be a new gun on me and stick a little bit, huh? Yeah, okay. So I've already had this apart. I've put extra a little bit. Surprisingly enough, I'm not sure why they do this, but it has a double captured spring. That's not what I'm talking about. But they had no oil in the barrel. They had no oil on the rails, and a lot of oil sitting all over the sides of this gun. I don't know what the heck. Someone must have been a little confused on what they were oiling. But so I put my grease up on the rails here. Not much, just enough to make that kind of smooth. And I put a little ballast all on my barrel here. So I like to get a little bit of slip, or the breakthrough, the Slip 2000. Slip 2000 is a good product as well. I like that. But put some ballast oil, let it sit in there and soak for a little while, because the ballast oil seems to soak into that metal. After that, I'll probably put the breakthrough on there. But I got a little bit of that on there. But that's pretty much all it is to take it down. Not quite sure why that slide wasn't coming off so well there. Put it back, do it the same way. Get the barrel in. Take your spring. I will note that I like to put a little bit of grease right there in that notch. There's a little notch, it's like a little half moon there. That's where the bottom of this recoil spring is going to sit at. If you notice, that recoil spring starts to get a little burr on there all the time. So I like to stick just a little bit of grease down on that, just so it has something to cushion that, and so it doesn't tear the heck out of that spring. I haven't seen one of these springs go bad yet, but boy, I tell you what, you take it out of there sometimes, and that rim is just enough to cut your gizzard out. Alright, so we're going to stick it back on the rails. So it's kind of weird doing it upside down. You pull the slide back, you lock it, you move your lever back down, you put your slide back down, and you're ready to rock and roll again. That's all there is to that. All modern guns now are pretty easy to take down, with the exception of a couple, like maybe Ruger or something like that, where I had an LC9, and you have to actually give you a little pin tool. You have to push the pin out to pull the thing back. Reminds me a lot of my Smith & Wesson 4013, where you actually have to pull the slide back a little bit and push the pin out, and I hate those kind. So much easier just to do that like this, like Glock does it. You know, a little bit different than Glock. Glock has the two little tabs on the side, but it's a strange little block weapon, isn't it? I think it is, but we'll have to see how it shoots. It hasn't been shot yet. It's still nice and new, and hasn't been shot, but we're going to shoot it soon. Alright, I haven't weighed these two, obviously because it's downstairs, the scale, and my son's down there making a lot of racket playing down there. I'll look up the specs on these. I'm sure what I'll find will be the same as what they have. And I'm just from the feel of them, I would say the 9's probably just a little bit heavier. They seem to have done a little bit more with the Mod 2 to try to make it a little bit lighter, although most Springfields are pretty heavy. Even the XDS's they're heavy for single stack small guns. It's not as light as a Glock. Definitely, Glocks are pretty light compared to what these are. My son's 43, Glock 43, versus the Springfield XDS9s. There's really no comparison. Empty weight, you're probably talking 23 ounces versus 17, I think, out of the Glock 43. So 5 ounces, that's a good bet. Springfields just seem to be heavier. I don't know why. Maybe that's sign of better products. I don't know. Hard to imagine that Springfield would be better than Glock, but I don't know. They're definitely heavier. And that doesn't even count with the rounds in there. So, well, that's our assessment of the of my new Mod 2. That's a 40 cal Mod 2 from Springfield. And this is Blazing Bullets. Always be safe out there, but always be ready for the fight. Deuces.